Hey kiddos, it's your dad here. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about how I used to think that discovering your purpose was something that you had to find out. Like you had to like you had to think about and reflect on all these different things, and then your purpose will just kind of come and be right there. Or you'll take this online assessment or this quiz, and you'll put all the pieces based on your interests and your values and experiences, all of these things, and then magically, or you put it into AI, and then poof, your interest will appear. I know because I tried, and it told me I should do a certain thing. Um, so or if you read the right books, and you listen to the right podcasts, uh, you'll find it. But I realized that the more that I tried to force it, the further away that it felt, or the closer that it felt, but it also felt distant. It felt close but distant. It's hard to describe unless you really feel it, and I'll try to explain what that feels like. But this is the third video in a 5-part series of this cycle of how I cured my existential depression. So it's a series on direction, values, peace, truth. So in the last video, we explored how losing passion is often has to do with just value misalignment. But once you do know what matters to you, how do you find a path that truly feels like your purpose? So that's what we're going to be unpacking here, and how real purpose comes not from control and trying to manufacture it or deconstruct it, but from stillness and not searching for it. So what did I do to try to find purpose? So after stepping away from my business partnerships, I didn't immediately jump into something new, but I tried really hard to find something new. I read every book. I read Man's Search for Meaning, 12 Principles for Life, or the 12 Rules of Life, Being Mortal, Creatures of Day, The Happiness Hypothesis. I was trying to, I was talking to my friends, reading Hemingway. Like I tried so much. I I used the course that I built out, and I tried putting it all into ChatGPT, and being like, okay, like going through and doing this myself and saying, okay, give me the answer. Uh, and and yeah, and it became a trap because I was trying to manufacture purpose. Um, Looking back, I thought if I build a business aligned with my values, then I'll feel like this is purposeful. But it was still performance based. It still put a lot of pressure. Still put a lot of pressure on me. And what I ended up in the end, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but it is. It's because it's also true to me. I thought, because I am very interested in living value aligned. I said I'll create a YouTube channel, no partners, nothing. I'll create a YouTube channel, talking about how to build a value aligned business because I'm taking my interest. I like online business. I'm good at I'm good at it. I can do the content. I'm good at content creation. I'm good at the online business stuff. I have experience with all these things. I have also reflected very deeply on, what are my values or what are my interests? Am I doing something that feels aligned? I already created the processes with the previous business partner, and this whole system. So it's like, logically this makes sense, um, and it's an interest, and I love teaching people. I love helping people. Um, I reflected on that really really heavy. Uh, I called my aunt, who's very spiritual, and I also talked to her about that, and she said that she felt like this is what I should be doing. Like, I'm excited about it. I enjoy this, honestly, but something just didn't feel right. Um, it felt like it was just a, it felt like it was just a better disguised hustle. It felt like if I had built this like perfect, this like perfect hamburger. It's not a real hamburger, not made with real beef, and it's 90% there. There's still 10% that doesn't feel like it's a real burger. I don't. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. It's like eating a really good bean burger. You're just like, this tastes like a burger. But there's something about it, um, that doesn't feel right. Maybe it's the texture, or maybe it's too much spices. Um, so something didn't feel right, and it felt similar to like when it felt similar but also different when I was considering going back and getting a job, because I had this really good opportunity, and if I didn't use my top secret clearance, I was going to lose it. So I was basically going to be losing that 6-figure salary opportunity that I could have for the rest of my life, as long as I maintained that security clearance. And it didn't feel like my body was saying no, don't do this, but there was just something else, like a subtle, you're not giving yourself the space. And it also felt like, if you do this, it's okay. You might be okay, but something just won't feel fully there. And I feel like that's the best way that I can describe it. Um, it didn't feel it didn't feel necessarily wrong, but it also just didn't feel right. So, there was this turning point. I talked to my friend. That's where he gave me the analogy of Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey, talking about the same thing for his entire life, and the painting analogy. Both really good metaphors or analogies, metaphors. Um, it wasn't until I read this one book called The Alchemist. Um, and the book reminded me that purpose isn't something that you invent, it's something that you notice. And there's this one part of The Alchemist where the uh, the main character, I believe his name is Santiago. He's in the desert, and he's been following his what they call a personal legend, like this thing that is supposed to that he's called to do. He's called on this journey. He left, he was a shepherd. He decided to become a shepherd. He became a shepherd, because he wanted to travel the world. His dad wanted to travel the world, so he said, "I'm going to become a shepherd." And then he becomes a shepherd, and he's pretty successful. He's more successful than the other people, and he's traveled all over the world, and he's satisfied, but he feels like there's something missing. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but that's just a little backstory. So he ends up, um, to leaving being a shepherd to go on this journey that he has this calling for, and it takes him down this like very crazy path, and he has highs and he has lows, and he gains lots of experience. He ends up in the desert, and he ends up in this scenario, this situation where he can become very successful. There's a woman that wants to be with him. He's offered this opportunity, this job, where he can become this very successful ruler in the desert, on this oasis. But it would also mean giving up pursuing the thing that he was interested in, his personal legend, or his calling. So he talks to his mentor, the alchemist, and says, "What should I do?" He says, "I feel like everything has led me up to this point. I feel like maybe this is what I'm supposed to do." And the alchemist says, "You can take this job, you can do this thing, and sure, you will have the success, you'll have the money, you'll have the wife and the life that you want. The first year everything's going good, but the second year something maybe is off. Maybe you're not performing as well, or you're kind of slowing down. The third year, other people are going to take notice and say there's something is not right. And then the fourth year, you won't be working in that position anymore. You won't be doing the thing, but you'll still be in the same place. And then you'll just think, maybe I made a mistake. Or maybe you just say, you re-justify, and you say, well, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I can't go do this thing that I wanted to do in the first place because this is my new life." And then you justify it. And that really resonated with me. Because I felt like I was just trying to justify the reason why I would accept. Well, I tried to justify the reason why I was going to make a decision. Like I'm going to create this new channel. I'm going to do this new thing, and it feels right. But rather than just sitting in the discomfort, I was trying to create a new reality. So reading that book really nudged me to stop planning and to just start listening. So I had that call with my aunt, and she said, this is right. And I heard that, but it just didn't feel right. And I knew that something is wrong here. So at that point I said, okay, I'm just not, I remember I said, I'm not going to build it. It's an option that I can take, but I'm just going to allow whatever happens. I'm going to give myself the time to sit and just see where life takes me. And this was like my first moment of stillness, because I went from a business to a business. I went from trying a bunch of different things to businesses, and then a lot of just trying to manufacture my purpose by deconstructing everything that I've experienced. So this was like the first time that I just said, okay, I'm just going to wait in stillness. And when I stopped trying to logic my way into the next thing is when, I felt a shift happen. I've been really into Taoism for some time, and one of the core concepts of Taoism is Wu Wei, or effortless action. When we try to force things to happen, we are disrupting the nature of how things are supposed to unfold. And as a person that has struggled with control their whole life and trying to control situations, and it comes with maybe my nature. It's like I'm very process oriented, very engineer, very disciplined, very systematic. It's just the way that my brain is wired. So it makes sense that I would try to deconstruct all of these things and build. So it is difficult for me to just let go and allow things to unfold. But it's what I know that I need. My body is telling me, like, you gotta let go, man. Like, you gotta stop. And when I said I'm gonna stop, I'm just gonna not. I'm not gonna force it. That's when in The Alchemist there's this concept of omens. Um, Omens, there's these things that happen in your life, and they can take you on a different direction, and you should be aware and listen to those omens. Well, around this at the same time, it was probably just like within a week, less than a week, just a few days actually. Um, I was already planning on moving some investments around, and with crypto and stuff, and saw this opportunity with Trump coin just came out with a meme coin. It was like I was on my phone, somebody said, "Hey, Trump coin, Trump just released a meme coin." Just a few hours after he posted it, and I said, "Okay, I've got to jump on this." So zero risk management, no stop losses or anything. I just dumped a bunch of money into it. Went to bed, and then the next day it was like up $170,000. Like, within a couple days it was like 100,000 and then 170. I was like, okay, if this is an omen, I don't know what is. So I just said, okay, like, I'm going to listen to this. And I already had previous interest in trading. Like I said, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2015, the end of 2015. I sold it for like $30. It was like $300. And then I got into forex trading and learning about like swing trading, the turtle traders and stuff like that. So I was already had an inclination towards that, an interest, but I just pursued different things in life after that. So coming back to that, I was just like, okay, well, I said that I wanted to build this business. I said, like, it's an option to build this, like, help people build purpose-driven businesses. They can turn their purpose into profit, value-aligned businesses. But I said, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna, I've made a little bit of money. I didn't take the whole 170,000. I let it drop, of course. Like what people what I've done a couple times before in the past. But I was able to make a little bit of good amount of money off of that. I said, okay, I'll just follow my interest. So I started researching and learning more about like meme coin investing and this whole world of that. And then another door opened. I saw this guy posting in one of the communities that I was in, and I said, hey, I really appreciate what you're posting. Like, it's really high value. And then we got into a conversation, and then that took me down another path where now I'm learning about super performance traders like Mark Minervini and William O'Neill and Oliver Kell and Qualamagi, and Darvis and Jesse Livermore, all these super performance traders, Stan Weinstein, and I said, okay, wow, I'm following my interest. I'm just really interested in this, and I spent months studying this stuff, from I really committed probably around like February. Yeah, like February is when I discovered this whole world. Because initially I just wanted to do meme coin investing, but again, I said I'm going to follow my interest, and my interest really just took me towards this more risk managed approach to trading that was never seen in crypto before, and I just did that, and then more doors started opening up when there were, the community that I was a part of, like, I opened up about my experience, and they were even offering me things that I was just like blown away, um, like partnership opportunities and these things, and I was just like, whoa, like, slow down. I'm not ready. Like I'm following my interest, but I want to take it slow, and I just want to do what interests me, and I've just kind of been living by that right now, and I've been doing this, now for 6 months. I started more actively trading and applying what I've been learning, and um, gaining a lot, and I'm still very interested in this. So you know, and then it was through this I also realized that trading for me was aligned with all of my values, my spirit. Um, it was simple. Um, yeah, it was simple. Um, I found a lot of peace. It wasn't stressful with trading. It aligns with my integrity of I'm not having to sell. I'm just able to, do it on my own. So, you know, trading aligned with my values, and I felt like even more so than previously. And again, I'm just following my interest, at this time. I'm taking it slow, and you know, I'm not saying that like what I'm doing right now is going to be for the rest of my life. Like, I'm not saying that anything is final, but it does feel aligned. Um, Purpose is not a destination. It's I feel that it's more of just it's a way of being. It's a way of feeling at peace, and I do feel at peace. Um, that's why I even started making these videos, because like as much as I love creating videos for the business, I now don't want to have my income be based on the videos that I'm creating. I just want to create for the sake of creating, and my business is trading, and I create because I want to, not because I have to. You don't have to discover your purpose. You don't have to discover your purpose by building it. You'll reveal it by listening and allowing what's already present to lead you to it. But even if you're aligned, here's the catch. Even if you're aligned, it's easy to fall back into the trap of expectations, where your passion turns into pressure. So, in the next video, I'm going to be sharing, how I'm learning. Still, this is an ongoing process, but how I'm learning to let go of the need to succeed, and how real peace and even success comes easier when you stop trying so hard, when you allow that wu wei into your life. So that's it for this video.